Hello, welcome to another episode of Show Boys. My name's Mike.
And I'm Nick.
Boys, my good friend Nick over there. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. Just hanging out in a rainstorm.
Yes. I mentioned this before we went on, but my lights did flicker about like 20 minutes ago. So hopefully they don't go out because that would be a short show tonight.
Just be me talking about what I'm watching with myself.
Yeah, it'd be real fun.
Yeah. I'll start watching something and just stream it.
There you go. I like that. But yeah, welcome to another episode. We're on episode 40, which is
40.
crazy.
Yeah.
Kind
40
of 40, but it's like really more than that. But still moving right along.
40th Thursday episode, essentially, is how I guess we should put it.
I mean, we're getting close to a year. In the end of August? Something like that?
Guess that is closer than I realized for it being already June.
Yep. But even closer, my birthday. So just don't forget.
There's something else that's pretty close too.
What?
Any day now. It could happen. Gotta be ready.
What's that?
You have a noob coming along.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That little thing. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we're gonna have another baby. Yay! In a month or so, hopefully so.
Probably less. I hear that's the rumor on the Instagram.
Probably. Usually she goes early. So with that, I mean, we might as well just get that out of the way. Yeah. So towards the end of the month, I might be, gone for a couple weeks, but have no fear. We've lined up some cool, familiar faces to join Nick on our Thursday shows. But yeah, I'm gonna take a couple weeks off when the noob gets here. We've decided to name her Logan. I've won
name
the war
reveal
of attrition
already. Jeez, Louise!
Don't tell anyone. Good thing no one watches this.
Oh my god! Just dropping that out of nowhere. I feel like you're pulling our leg here. I feel like that's just a lie.
Yeah, stay tuned to my wife's Instagram. Go follow her.
I can't wait till you come back for the first episode and you're like, well, we didn't name her Logan.
Yeah, her name's Elliot.
Hey, that'd be a good one too.
Yeah, I guess. I just not that this really matters, but I wanted to name Carson Logan, and I lost that battle. And I've hung on to it for another child. And pretty much we couldn't decide on a name, and the girls keep wanting to call her Logan, and Becca thinks it's me like poisoning their minds.
That's awesome.
To turn them against her, but I don't say anything to them. They just want to call her like Low or Low or something like that. So
Low.
You can't say no to them.
Right?
What are you gonna be a monster?
can't come home from the hospital and be like, and they're all just like Lolo, and she's like,
no, it's Riley.
Riley, yeah.
But yes, so that's happening soon.
Yeah, and speaking of like poisoning minds and like basically while you're gone, basically imagine like when Scar took over the Pride Land. Basically, that's what's going to happen to the podcast. Is like this is just going to get very dark and like very off topic, like not the traditional Showboys at all.
I like it. I have faith in you and our friends. Hopefully, maybe that faith is misplaced, but
just don't watch anything that you're be at the hospital like watching on Thursday night. Wife's in labor, and you're just like, what are they doing?
I'm like commenting in on my phone, like, stop doing that. Anyways, yeah, so that'll be fun. One real quick thing to update everyone on too. We are so close to hitting 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So if you're watching the live stream, if you check this video out later, and you primarily watch our show on YouTube, please consider subscribing if you like what you hear. I think we're like 10 subs away. We're sitting at like around 90, I think. But yeah, we've had the goal of hitting 100 subs for a little while. We're getting closer, and it'll be really exciting if we finally get over that mark and we're really excited. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe. Other than that, tonight it's going to be kind of a laid back, chill episode. We haven't really had one of these in quite some time. We almost had one of these a couple weeks ago, but then ended up talking about musician biopics, which was a really fun episode. But yeah, we just thought tonight we would catch each other up on what we've been watching, because it's been a while. So there's probably a lot to catch up on.
And if you're interested in gaming, we will be doing the same thing next week with our What's Playing episode on Thursday. And we will be catching up with Chad and everything that we've also been playing in the past, I feel like 3 months since we've done a general one of those.
Have we even done a general one of those?
Very early on, I think we did. Maybe like the first one, honestly. And I can't even tell you how many of those that was ago. Since we sadly only do it once a month, I would love to do that once a week. Exactly. If I play more games.
A weekly Game Boys podcast. I would love that. Just throwing that out there.
Let's not get that trademarked or copyrighted right away. The Game Boys. Make sure there's a space in there. I don't think there is a Game Boy.
Yeah, we'll just call it Game Boy. I don't know. It's a work in progress.
Yeah. Anyway,
spoiler alert, not much change for me. Just kidding. If anyone knows my video game playing habits, I've been playing basically the same game for 6 years. So, but anyways, that's for next week. So yeah, man, what have you been watching? Have you found that you've been watching a lot of stuff lately, or?
I think I've definitely fallen into like the summer rotation. A lot of shows, right, that usually come on during the late spring for the summer run, obviously start up. So that's helped a lot, kind of get me back into TV and shows with those things popping back up. And then I was just kind of on a watching spree kind of after, spoiler alert, started playing less Valheim there. So I definitely replaced the Valheim time with other things that I like to do.
I don't know.
What you been watching more or less? You feel like in the past?
Probably a little more, but like not much more. I typically, like, my routine is I'm a very routine person. So what my routine is, after everyone goes to bed for the night, I come down here, jump on the computer, maybe play a little bit of a game, maybe do a little bit of music. I don't know, something in that realm. And then usually by like 10:30, 11, I'll go upstairs and then watch something, an episode of something, a couple episodes of something, maybe start a movie or whatever. But that's usually like my nightly routine. So that pretty much is consistent. But lately I've been kind of getting bored of playing games, and my trip upstairs happens earlier and earlier every night, it seems. So I've been watching some more stuff every night. But yeah, I definitely realized that doing this podcast has kept me to like watching things, whereas before, that would be my nightly routine, and then I would go like months without watching anything. Maybe just like go upstairs and like throw sports on, or like ESPN or something, or like UFC, something that I don't really have to pay attention to, and just kind of like chill on the couch, look through my phone until I get sleepy and then go to bed. But yeah, I have to watch stuff now to give content to everyone else out there. So
for stuff I watch, the podcast element definitely gives like a nice 10% reward on top of completing something, because you're just like, a little bit where it's just like, okay, I can like officially say I watched this whole thing. I can completely talk about it, and all that jazz. For gaming, I think it's a little stronger because, I recently like finished a game, and I feel like that's just like a solid like 20-30% boost to my like completion on like video games, because it's like I have something to talk about with Chad now. So that's what's important.
Yeah, and it's like makes me feel like I'm watching for a reason. Like I'm not just watching to watch something. Like it's like there's validation for sitting on the couch for 2 hours or something. It's research.
Yeah, and we've always been, and that's why we started this, obviously, because we like to also look a little deeper into the things we watch, but it definitely constantly keeps my mind working a little bit because, like, I just kind of try to, observe all the different elements that I like, don't like, different things like that.
Yeah, it definitely has caused me to watch with a different lens, where like I'm, like you just said, looking deeper, analyzing things, like.
Oh no, are we critics?
I hope not, because no, I'm gonna say no, because I still enjoy like 95% of what I watch.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to tear it to shreds.
We're like the worst critics. We're just like, oh, Snyderverse is great.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, speaking of,
uh-oh,
our next newscast is gonna have a real nice article. But our boys at Warner Bros. Discovery allegedly, reportedly, are restoring the Snyderverse. So excited.
Weak.
But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy definitely like the new approach to watching things. It hasn't taken enjoyment out of what I'm watching, but it's actually made it more enjoyable because I force myself to like really think about why the story element is playing out the way it is, or like really try to uncover the like undertones of scenes and stuff instead of just what's at the surface. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally I would do that, but now I feel like I try to do that with everything I watch. But yeah, I don't know. So enough of that. Let's get into what we're actually watching. And why don't you start us off, Nick? What's something you've been watching or just finished or currently started? I don't know.
I think my theme here for tonight, and it's what's kind of got me excited about this episode, is variety. I have a nice variety of platforms here and content, which is, I don't know, that just feels good to me. I hate, not that it's bad, but I don't like being in like a complete Netflix rut or a Disney Plus rut, So I'm really happy to bring a good variety here, and it's very natural variety too. But I'll kind of start with like the most recent thing I watched, which I finished probably like an hour ago. And this is part of a larger initiative over the past like few months here. And I've been watching the MCU franchise on Disney Plus. This particular movie that I'm on was not on Disney Plus because of fun licensing rights and all that jazz. But I finally watched for the first time Spider-Man Homecoming.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Obviously, as I've heard, Tom Holland is a very good Spider-Man. And I like the bad guy in that movie.
Obviously, yes, Michael Keaton.
Solid actor,
the Vulture,
right?
Yes,
and then I like that the Vulture was, that's Spider-Man's like second nemesis ever, I think, in the comics or something like that. But I just felt like that was a nice deep cut.
I enjoy Michael Keaton in anything, so I'm glad he is in the MCU now.
Well, for a bit there, I was like, did they create this character for like this MCU? Because how well it integrated with the like alien element there, because Michael Keaton's character was salvaging the alien technology and turning into weapons and selling them. So I was like, did they make this character up, or really they just did a really good adaptation of that existing character? So I thought that was really cool.
It's a shame Jordan isn't here because we could ask him like how that comic or that character is in the comics and how close the on-screen version turned out to be.
Yeah, too bad he wasn't watching or listening right now. He could comment and tell us, but
yeah, he's too busy trying to find real estate in Thailand.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
What a guy. You know who else is in that movie? Makes a little appearance.
I mean, a lot of appearance, like Tony Stark.
No, I mean, yes, but I'm thinking, more up our alley. Someone we really talk about quite a bit on the show. One of our favorite rappers, actors,
Oh yeah,
creators.
Bino's in it in a very light but like very good fashion, right? Yeah. Very side character, but he the second appearance of Bino really ties him in there, which I liked. That was cool. Bino.
Yeah, I enjoyed that when I saw it. I was like, hey, my boy.
Yeah.
That's cool though. I'm glad that you're finally trudging your way through the MCU. It's a fun watch.
Yeah, and like we've talked about many other times, like I definitely am more likely to appreciate it now than I was when they were coming out, because I need the deeper phase 4 stuff that they've been coming out with, like the shows. That just really clicks it for me. So now going back, everything's just super like clicky, like everything just stacks up right. I've really been enjoying it. So yeah, but I just finished Homecoming, and that puts me in the like, I think it's a little obscure depending on what list I look at. It goes Homecoming, Civil War, Homecoming, then Doctor Strange, Black Panther. Like those seem to be interchanged as far as like where in the timeline they fit. So I watched Black Panther, and that was mostly out of an inability to watch Homecoming. So I think Doctor Strange will be next on my list. So that will be a fun watch, just because I like Doctor Strange from the get-go. But now that I'm kind of fully in swing with the whole franchise here, I'm hoping to even get more appreciation for good old Doc Strange.
Yeah, that movie was really good. I'm sad I didn't watch that one in theaters, which makes me sad. And when the one time I have watched it, I watched it while having like a terrible migraine. So that was just really dumb on my part, because that movie is really cool and like pretty trippy. So I really do want to rewatch it actually myself. But like, I just remember like laying on the couch. I don't know if you've ever had a migraine, but whenever I have them, it's like, it's just painful to have my eyes open because like light just makes my head hurt. So like I was like pumped full of medicine. I have a bag of frozen corn that I keep in the freezer. It's like my headache corn. I don't know why I keep doing air quotes tonight, but yeah, whenever I have like a real bad headache, I'll just like slap it on my head or like my neck or whatever. So I'm just like laying on the couch with frozen corn on my face, trying to watch Doctor Strange.
Next time I see Beck, I'm gonna be like, does Mike ever have a headache? He can't do something or help out because he has a headache.
Yeah.
If she laughs, headaches. I'm gonna know. I'll know.
Yeah. I don't know what's my flippant use of air quotes tonight. I gotta cool it. Yeah, that's great. How many do you have left to watch in the MCU? Do you know? You gotta be real close.
Yeah, so I got Black Panther down. Doctor Strange, Ragnarok, Ant-Man the Wasp,
Infinity War Endgame,
Far From Home.
Nice. Round and third.
Yeah, and I've seen Doctor Strange multiple times, Ragnarok multiple times, so I'm about to go back into a little bit of a repeat session with like stuff I've seen. Yeah. But I've never seen Ant-Man the Wasp. Only seen Infinity War and Endgame once, and I've not seen Far From Home. So it's about to get really fresh. But Doctor Strange and Ragnarok are really good. So I feel like I'm hitting a real good sweet spot here. Now that I got past kind of like Civil War, but I still enjoyed I enjoyed the Captain Americas like 10 times more than I did when they came out. Yeah. So that was super fun. So
yeah. And I think you'll appreciate Far From Home after watching WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, because it's the start of like everyone coming to terms with the repercussions of Endgame and Infinity War. So yeah, I think plus it's just a really good movie. But that's kind of where the tone shifts, I think, in the MCU. And it was cool to see them do that in that movie. And then even cooler to see them go deeper in WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. But yeah, man, that's sweet.
That's my first pick. What do you got?
So I started. I think I'll go like you and go in order of what I've started, what's in progress, and like what I've finished in order of finishing. I have some variety like you. I've hit 1, 2, 3, 4 of the streaming services. So I got a little variety there. I have some animated things on here, a couple of movies on here, a couple of shows, a couple of YouTube things, which isn't shocking, I don't think.
I don't have any animation. Is that true? Is that true?
Oh, how the crumbles cookie or something. I don't know.
I have to think about that.
Shoes on the other hand or something.
So bad.
Yeah, I know that was terrible. I apologize. Yeah, so what I started last night, fresh on the cusp of tonight, I started a show called Raised by Wolves on HBO Max. It's a new one that came out, I think, let me check my notes, 2020, last year came out. 1 season so far. It is created by Aaron Guzikowski, executive produced by Ridley Scott, who also directed the first and second episodes of the season. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it got renewed for a second season, but I can't confirm or deny that right now. But basically, the premise of the show, you follow 2 androids who are called Father and Mother, and they are tasked with raising human children on Kepler 22b. Shout out to Dad. He has a song about Kepler 22. Anyways, I miss Dad. He just uploaded the Act 3 like finale, and I haven't watched it, and it makes me sad them talking about it. But anyways, these androids, they are tasked with raising human children on Kepler 22b after Earth was destroyed by a great war. And I'm learning that it's like some kind of religious war. It's pretty interesting. I wouldn't say it's like top shelf yet, but it's definitely an interesting story, and it looks really cool, like visually. And I'm intrigued to learn more about the story. So far, there haven't been any, big faced actors or actresses that I've noted, that I've like recognized. But yeah, it's an interesting idea for a show, and
you're right. I might like that. I know you said that.
I feel like it's something that you would enjoy.
What's the animation style like?
No, this is live action.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But yeah, this the
that's even crazier.
Stuff's a little further down.
That's a little crazier. Like when you read the description, I was picturing anime. So now, like if this is like live action, that sounds even crazier.
Yeah, no, it's definitely live action, and it's really cool. So what from what I'm gathering is like the war. Obviously, I've only seen 2 episodes, so I'm not going to like spoil any major thing. But the war seems to have broken out between religious people and people who are atheists and only believe in science. And like from what all I've seen, flashbacks from the war is just like androids floating around, just blowing people up. So androids appear to have been like the main weapon, and people like on the religious side of the war like are anti-android. But I don't know. That's all I've really learned of the story so far. It's interesting. I'm gonna finish it out. Obviously, when I start something, I can't stop. I have to finish unless it's like egregiously bad. But yeah, that's what I'm currently.
This reminds me to like go watch The Expanse. Maybe I should get back into that soon.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about The Expanse. Never seen it. I feel like I really should.
Yeah, there's a lot of seasons, and it's like a pretty well done show. I've seen like 4, 5 episodes. Obviously, it's like a sci-fi show, so there's some elements you kind of have to get over, but it's supposed to be pretty, at least scientifically accurate as far as like what they can say is scientifically plausible. So I heard that's always a plus that people watching that do like.
Yeah. Not to like, force a Mr. Robot reference here in this episode, but that was one of the things that I loved about Mr. Robot is I actually listened to a podcast that, basically was like one of our companion series for Mr. Robot. And one of the hosts on the podcast is a like cyber security person, right? So his whole job was to like hack stuff, to learn how to prevent hacking. So like every episode he would be like, yeah, that's actually like exactly how you would do that in real life. Or like, that's actually like everything so far in the show is like that little gadget that they use to pull off that hack is exactly what it is. Like that's exists in real life, and that's actually its purpose. And it actually performs that hack the way that they did it on the show, exactly like it would in real life, which stuff like that's super cool to me. Like you're saying, if you can nail like accuracy with how things happen in real life, it's a checkbox for me for sure.
Oh, for sure. I just feel like you're not going to win like the most viewers right from it, but you're going to win like the right viewers. Because I just feel like if you get the right people saying like, this show's good, but what makes it really good is it's very accurate plus good at the same time. And that's just such a nice touch to things.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, what else have you been watching?
What order are you going in? Are you going with like currently watching,
so
like working through?
Yeah, so my list, I have Raised by Wolves started, then my next one is a current watch, and then all the other ones are ones that I have completed.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So the next thing I guess I will talk about is something I just started because season 2 just premiered yesterday on Fox.
Okay.
And that will be the return of my favorite competition show.
Wait, hold on. Legos? Yeah.
Lego Masters.
Nice.
On Fox. Yeah. So season 2 just started yesterday, Tuesday. Wait, what's today? Thursday. Crap. Did it start Tuesday? It was Tuesday. But yeah, Lego Masters, in case anyone isn't familiar, is a competition show basically where they bring in 10 or 12 like pairs of people, and they work to people well, pair to people masters, but they bring them in and they are in a giant room that has, I think this season, 5 million bricks in it. And basically they just get the pull from all these bricks and build a Lego masterpiece, which is from a decided challenge. So like the first episode was building a float that you would see in like a parade. And it had to have some sort of motion involved in it. So
I feel like there was a really good
I don't know, it's just a fun show.
Free throw joke in there with that room full of bricks, but neither of us really watch basketball that much to be able to. Yeah. Anyways.
Pass. Yeah. But Will Arnett posts it, and he is just like dad mode funny, and the voice of Lego Batman. So he's just like a good touch. The people that are competing, like some of them are just like really odd, maybe like even reality TV kind of picked pairs just because they have a certain like flair factor about them. But definitely an interesting group of people, but they definitely build some really cool stuff. And if you're into Lego and all that jazz, it's a fun watch. Not a lot of investment, obviously, because it's just like a competition show, just like you would have any of your cooking shows. So it's just like a nice Tuesday watch.
Nice. Those are nice to have. But
and I don't actively watch many competition shows, so it's my one in the pot there.
Yes. I just want to apologize again if there's any like weird connection or lag issues. It's been like stormy here in our area. So yeah, hopefully I have my Google Wi-Fi. My desktop is set as my priority device. So
I should do that too. I actually just saw StreamYard pop up a little connectivity thing next to the viewer icon. Never noticed that before.
Can't be a good sign.
Nope.
But yes, Becca, she just started watching the second season of The Circle, which I don't know if you know what that is, but
I've heard of that.
It's a really dumb competition show where people basically go and live in isolation in an apartment building, and their only interactions with the other contestants are via social media, and you basically try to be the person that lasts the longest, and you can either like come as yourself or you can like catfish people. It's really weird and kind of dumb, but like she enjoyed the first season and the second season came out and she's watching through that. I don't know the last type of competition show I've watched myself, actually, now that we're talking about this.
This is like the only one I like actively seek out too. I if Great British Baking Show is on, I get stuck watching that. Let's be honest. Just because I don't know, there's just something about the level of critique that they get on these pastries is just like next level. It's great.
There's a pretty funny show on Netflix called Sugar Rush, I think is what it's called. But it's a competitive baking show, and we watch that with the kids, and they love it, and it's super funny. And you get to see cool desserts, I guess.
With so many platforms these days, and obviously streaming services, there's a competition show for everything. There's like one on Discovery or whatever that I feel like is about making like medieval weapons. I might be wrong, but like I don't know. There's just awesome. so many random things. It's crazy.
Becca, like, she made some Instagram post. By the way, my wife is famous on Instagram, so if you don't follow her. Modern Day Design 16. What does she have? Like 11,000 followers or something, which is basically a celebrity.
Basically.
She made a post about finishing season 1 way back when she finished it last year or something, and like tagged the dude who won, and the dude like commented or like wrote her back and was like, "Oh, thanks so much for watching, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Get him on our show, Becca. What are you doing? Get Shuby on our show." But yeah, anyways,
perfect time for a low-key plug. Like, hey, thanks for hitting me up. You want to be on my husband's show?
Yeah, he's not nearly as cool as I am, but yeah, anyways. Yeah, you ready for what I'm watching next? You ready for this? It's a show that Becca and I are watching together, actually. And that is Barry on HBO Max. You might have heard of us. What's up? You gonna say something?
That was next on my list.
Was it really? All right, let's tag team this, bro.
All right.
So you might have heard this show be mentioned in our actual The Musician biopic episode we were talking about. So after we did our pitches, we did touch a little bit on what we were watching, and one of our guests, Mikey, who is Nick's co-host on the Bad Batch Companion series, shout out. He brought this up, and someone we work with too, Fran. You might have you ever heard of Fran, Nick?
I know Fran. Yeah, I know Fran.
Shout out Fran.
Shout out Fran.
She also was like, "Hey, I started watching the show Barry. It's really funny. I think you'd love it." And I was like, "Okay." And then I never watched it because there's too many things on my backlist. It's just like every time someone recommends something to me, I'm like, "Oh, that sounds great," and I actually mean it, like that. I actually would probably love it, but there's so many other things that it's just like thrown on the giant like garbage pile of things I need to watch. but I finally got around to it, and I've been watching it with Becca, and it's hysterical, and we love watching it together. It's so funny. But basically, it's on HBO Max, 2 seasons so far, started in 2018. They were renewed for a 3rd season, and I think they've also already written the 4th season. But basically, the premise is you follow a hitman from Cleveland who goes to LA for a hit, and during his work, he finds out that he actually loves being an actor.
He wants to be an actor.
And like decides to change his life and stop being a hitman and instead pursue acting, and it's so funny.
but you know, the way they intertwine it so quickly is that his target in LA is in this acting class that he just stumbles upon into. And before you know it, he's like way too in deep with like his target and too in the mix. And there's just a lot of conflicting drama in this poor guy's life.
It's so great. Bill Hader is the main character, Barry. And then it also has one of our favorite actors too, Anthony Carrigan, who was in one of Nick's favorite shows, Gotham, as Victor Zsasz.
Yeah, Victor.
His character in this NoHo Hank is like the best part of this show, hands down.
So good. It rivals Victor.
Yeah, dude, and he's so funny. Their accents are hilarious, like so bad. But yeah, we also have Henry Winkler in here, the Fonz himself, and then Stephen Root. He plays Fuchs, which he's one of those guys where like I know I've seen him in like 30 things, but like I don't know what those things were that I've seen him in, or he just looks like somebody who's been in 30 things but isn't the person who's been in 30 things.
Nah, so like, he's been in 30 things.
I don't know where I recognize him from, and people listening are probably like, "Oh, he was in this super huge thing, you moron." But yeah, I can't put my finger on it. But the cast is great, and it's like really funny, and even has some pretty serious moments. And I don't know how far you are into the show, Nick, but like there are some scenes with Bill Hader, like where he's like really
acting
great, like psychopath, or like really great at expressing like grief or sadness or anger, and like not just doing his comedic chops up there. Like he's got some range in this show, and it's cool to see because I'm just used to seeing him in things like Superbad or Trainwreck,
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on the show so far?
Yeah, I'm not far into it. I'm only like 4 or 5 episodes. But it's definitely enough to like keep me coming back. I like it that it's a shorter show, right? It's not one of those hour ones I have to like grind through just to get like an episode down. I could maybe knock out 2 at a time, which is good and fun. So yeah, I do like it. Obviously, the characters are well done. You know, they're funny, they're eccentric. It also kind of plays into the whole, I mean, the criminals in it, right? They're basically like Hollywood criminals, and they're kind of acting the part of being these like mafia types, which kind of plays into the rest of the show, because then you have the actual actors that want to be actors, and then you have Bill Hader here, like trying to find himself and like identify who he really is. Is he the assassin, or is he just like the actor? All that kind of stuff. So it's just funny, and the characters are just pretty good too. And it's a good show. I think I need to get a few more episodes into it for it to really like take off, though. But it's getting there.
We're like 3 or 4 episodes into the 2nd season.
Okay.
So I think we're approaching like halfway through season 2. But yeah, it gets better with time for sure. The story gets a little more involved. And yeah, I'm excited to see how the rest of season 2 plays out and what they have in store for season 3. I just hope nothing ever happens to Hank, because for real, like the funniest character on that show by far.
Yeah, he should stay around. I don't see why they would. He's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like he's because like Fuchs, he has his mirror opposite character, right, on the crime side. And then I feel like, they are, Bill Hader and him are kind of like the mirroring level of character.
Yeah, for sure. And fun fact, I thought that it was odd that Hank has no eyebrows or hair. And I was like, that's an interesting choice for that character. And then I was like, they played Victor Zsasz, who also doesn't have hair or eyebrows and was just covered in tally marks of his murder victims. And then I was like looking on IMDb. Apparently, he has a disorder where he like lost all of his hair in his like early 20s. So
okay, because when you look him up on the internet, he just owns the look, and I'm like, he's really leaning in hard for this look. But here, like, he
doesn't have a choice. You insensitive jerk. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I mean, he's taking it and using it to his advantage because, like, I don't know, he uses it well. It just, I don't know how he does it, but
I mean, he just kind of looks like a big pinky finger. But I mean, he has a disorder, so that would explain that. Because I was like, why does he not have eyebrows? That's a really weird choice for this character. But makes total sense. But that's number 2 on, or whatever, our next choice for both of us. Do you want to go next with your next pick, or do you have anything else to say about Barry?
No, I think that's what we have to say about Barry. Good show.
This is definitely one. So maybe we should throw this too at the end of everything we talk about. Give our recommendation. So like Raised by Wolves, if you like sci-fi, I would recommend it. If you're not like super into sci-fi, you might not enjoy it. Barry, I think probably anyone could enjoy. It's pretty good comedy, but also has some good serious moments. And Bill Hader. So, I don't know.
That's fair. I'm gonna not recommend the MCU just because if you disagree with me, my recommendation doesn't matter. And if you haven't seen it yet, you're probably not going to listen to me anyway. So that's my take on the MCU. Don't watch it. Lego Masters. If you like competition shows, you like Lego, easy pickup. It's the only thing kind of in the space outside of like Lego Instagram and just other like deep corners of the Lego internets. But it's nice to see a little bit more mainstream Lego action out there. Then, like Mike said, Barry. I think it's a little bit of a dark comedy, a little bit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's definitely got a niche. I don't know if it will land with quite everyone. It's a little bit of off kilter humor too, especially with the pacing of it and how they jump from like serious to like funny, or funny and serious moment kind of thing. I was starting to channel their accents. So I recommend Barry. Lightly, I can't say it's for everyone.
Fair enough.
But speaking of dark subject matter, and this will be probably one of 2 of my more heavier topics, my picks for the evening. But heavy. We are currently we're most of the way through this 4th season, but been continuing the every Wednesday watch with my wife of Handmaid's Tale on Hulu.
Nice.
This has been a watch from the beginning when it came out from the first time. I think they do a fun thing where they release 3 episodes on the first week on the same day, and then 1 episode a week thereafter. I'm not sure how often that's a thing on Hulu or if that's a thing other places, but I think it's cool that they do it this way for this show. Because you can like binge 3 episodes and then basically go week to week. It's a nice middle ground between the whole Netflix drop it all at once or the Disney Plus, you got to wait every week for it.
Yeah.
I like that creative spin on it. But Handmaid's Tale is basically about an alternate future that I don't think we have encountered yet. I think we've circumnavigated it somehow, but basically the United States kind of breaks up. You kind of have this very traditional religious part of the United States, kind of like the Northeast to Chicago, maybe as far south as like the Carolinas, maybe, but it's called Gilead. And basically the birth rate in the whole world is in decline. And they believe the only way to kind of restore the birth rate is to basically abduct, kidnap, or get a hold of fertile women and basically use them as incubators for new children, for the actual like kind of noble, if you will. So everything's logical. Yeah. So basically you have like your noble, you're wealthy, or like you're very distinguished members of this society. All of them, if the wives are infertile, they get a handmaid, and the handmaid is used to create a child with the husband. So obviously it borderline, it runs the line of like, obviously this is rape, there's torture in it, and it's a pretty long running series at this point. That's how it starts off essentially. But we're on the 4th season, so there's obviously been a lot of development in where we're at. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it touches on a lot of interesting, probably situations that, at least at that scale, won't have to deal with in our reality, but based on a book. And the main actress there, she has won a decent amount of awards, and she does a pretty good job portraying the main character. And it gets deep. And then basically in this 4th season, there's a lot of like reflection back on the other seasons. And then they do these like sequences where they kind of do flashbacks of like montages of things that happened. And you're kind of like, oh, damn, they desensitize you to so much of this like terrible stuff throughout the series. Now that it's kind of less of a thing, you're like, I forgot all that happened, and that looks very terrible. So like, if you just kind of watch like these montage sequences of what this girl has gone through, it's pretty horrifying in retrospect. So, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but I would definitely recommend it if people like a drama that is kind of set in like an alternate dystopian future, maybe utopian future. They're starting to play around with that idea. Like maybe this is the correct answer. Lots of they do both sides well too. So like they paint these, this state, if you will, is kind of like the bad guys, but they also kind of play with the idea that maybe they got it right. Who knows?
Interesting. I feel like I would really like that show. And I think shout out to our first episode ever. I think Cody talked about this show all the way back then.
Yeah, him and I
I even remember being like, oh wow, I probably would really like that show. And I still haven't watched it.
Well, whole year later almost, we're on another season, and it's still good.
Again, just an example. It's on the pile. It's just like buried on the pile.
Yeah, when you first said that, I was like, what's the like rhyme, reason, or psychology between like how we sort through these piles? Because obviously we just between ourselves have enormous piles that we yell at each other about watching stuff, but like so randomly, like things, tons of new stuff is always added, tons of random stuff is always added and then instantly watched. There's stuff that sits there for months. Yep. And then finally you watch it. So like, what's the rhyme or reason we have? I really don't know. We could
I don't have one, I don't think, which is why most of this stuff doesn't get watched. If you're having trouble imagining me trying to pick something to watch, imagine Wall-E like scooting around on Earth with his like little dustpan trying to clean up. That's like me going through my backlog.
There's just like skyscrapers of trash. And
and I'm just sitting there like, what do I watch next?
Like, whatever's lowest on the pile that day.
Yeah, exactly. But then I'll like last night, I was like, oh, Raised by Wolves looks interesting as I'm browsing through something, not even like my list at all.
you're like beyond your list. You went all the way through your list and now you're down. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But pro tip, I'm sure everyone already does this, but something I recently did is I created an account on Netflix, Prime, maybe definitely Hulu, for myself, apart from my family, or like the main account that we use. To not mess with the algorithms and stuff. So one thing I've been doing is going through the different services and trying to add stuff to my list.
I feel like we talked about that some time ago, and that's where that idea kind of stemmed from.
Yeah, so I definitely need to go back through Hulu and start adding stuff in Handmaid's Tale, or Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
The S placement is so hard for me of that show.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole, and yeah, because my wife and I have always kind of, obviously because, we, just had a kid this year or last year. Yeah. So, we didn't really have like a family account. So we've always had 2 different profiles on everything. So if you go onto hers versus mine, they are very different algorithms. And depending on like, if we're looking for something to watch, we have the option to switch between them, because sometimes like I'll be browsing through hers. I'm like, look at all this crap. Like we could be watching or stuff that I don't want to be watching. I'm like, where's all the good stuff here? You can go to mine and she'll be like, why do you have all these like really good movies recommended? So I guess I watch good stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Unlike you, I have taste. But yeah, speaking of, I don't have a list on HBO Max because I definitely give our friend money to be on their HBO Max account. And I don't want to ruin. Well, I already have by watching things, because I feel like I don't watch the same stuff that our friend Fran would normally watch. So when she goes on her profile on HBO, it's probably all crazy.
Here's how the HBO thing goes. If
connection.
Oh yeah, there we are.
Did you say anything there? Okay, you're back.
No, I think I was going to, and I was going to say the whole thing. The way the HBO Max thing goes is if you're just going to ghost under someone's profile, you're stuck with watching what they've watched. So you're just kind of in their shadow. Or you go as bold as I have, and this is because I'm the keeper of the password on this account. So I just went ahead and made my own profile. So
nice.
So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna establish my dominance here and be like,
if anything,
I got a profile.
I think because, not to go into detail about somebody else's HBO Max account, but they have like one for her husband, she has one, and then one for her kid, and then one for somebody else that's not me. So I think she primarily uses like her husband's profile. But in the case that she does use hers, which I think this is hilarious that this is what we're talking about. So Fran, if you're listening, I hope you're enjoying this.
Oh God.
Which she does listen to a lot of our shows. So good chance she probably will listen to this. Hopefully she'll have a whole new array of things to like recommended to her, or she'll look through her watch history and be like, well, she probably most likely will be like, what the heck is this guy watching? And then hopefully what I'm hoping for is she'll be like, oh wow, that looks really good, I'll watch that. I don't know. Maybe I'm opening her eyes.
The nice thing about HBO is that it is such a refined catalog of content, because HBO has its own brand when it comes to what kind of content they make. So I don't really think there's much of an HBO algorithm, because it's just all the HBO stuff, versus like Netflix. You can really mess up someone's profile by just watching the wrong things. It's like YouTube. Netflix and YouTube can get absolutely destroyed. Oh, yeah. Having someone that should not be your brain on there.
Yes. No one is allowed to search things on YouTube on my work account, because like that algorithm is like almost perfect.
Crispy.
which just goes to show you how much YouTube I watch while I'm working. So I promise I'm actually doing work too. Doing work. But yeah, that's great. Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid Tales. Yes. Just say an S on all words there.
Yeah, that'll hopefully move up my list.
What do you got that's actually on your list tonight for your next one?
So this is one that I finished, I believe Monday, I want to say. And that is Jupiter's Legacy.
Wow.
So this was a Netflix original. Came out this year. 8 episodes. 1 season. There was just news yesterday that that Netflix released all of the actors from their contracts for this show. So it appears that there will not be a second season of Jupiter's Legacy.
Womp.
But the show is based off of Mark Millar's comic series of the same name, Jupiter's Legacy. And he has gone on record saying that despite of the cancellation, there will be a second season produced in the future of Jupiter's Legacy. And there has been an announcement of a spinoff called Super Crooks, which Jupiter's Legacy tells the story of the heroes, and apparently Super Crooks is going to tell stories of villains. So it sounds interesting. But the premise here, a group of people get superpowers back in 1929. And in current times, they are old, and there is a new wave of younger superheroes like rising up. And this group of original superheroes followed basically like a Batman code. They're not to interfere with like anything politically, and under no circumstances are they to like kill. And
murder.
This new wave of superheroes and even villains, like struggle with that code for reasons. I don't want to spoil the show, but that's like the crux of the show there. Overall, it's interesting story. I like the take of seeing like old superheroes. And like the main character's got like gray hair and a white beard, and like they're all like old, like in their they look like they're in their 60s, but like, you know, they were in their 30s or so in 1929, you know? So like superpowers obviously prolonged their life and decreased aging in them, because they're still heroes current time, like flying around, like fighting baddies and stuff, but they look old, which is cool. Yeah, the story's very interesting. I would say I watch this, you know, every night, and almost every episode I found myself dozing off towards the end. It's a very slow show. At times really felt like it drug on, but the action sequences were really cool. Visually looked really great. Like the main villain in like one of the first encounters straight up looks like Darkseid, and I loved it. It was great. But yeah, I feel like they could have done more. I didn't read the comic series, so I have no idea what the source material is like. I just felt like there could have been more. The pacing could have been better. The acting was fine. Like I said, the fight scenes were cool. Visually looked great. But I was dozing off during the show, which isn't a common thing for me. So that's not usually a good sign.
That's being all shows.
This is definitely, like my wife too, for sure. But yeah, hey, look at our buddy PM Fusion here chiming in. Hey guys, just got off work. Can't get it all, but time for some Showboys. Well, thank you for tuning in, man.
Rewind.
Hope you had a good evening at work, and don't you worry, because you can catch the video
replay
tomorrow. Or even right after the episode ends tonight. If you feel like it, you can just go back and rewatch it. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, man. It's good to have you.
Always.
But yeah, if you like superheroes, you might like this. But I do like superheroes and generally enjoy almost everything I watch, but I found it hard to get through this at times. So I'm going to go out and give it a side thumb, which is like our rating system when Becca and I go to the movies. We like to rate the previews. We like to get there early, watch all the trailers. Thumbs up, definitely good. We want to go see it in theaters. Sideways is like, that used to be like, we'll wait till the dollar theater, but that's not a thing anymore. So, and then of course, thumbs downs. There's no way I want to watch that. We'll give Jupiter's Legacy a sideways thumb. If you've got literally nothing else to watch, throw it on. Otherwise, if there are other things that you want to watch, definitely get those finished first.
I just think of Gladiator, Joaquin Phoenix in the arena, it's like holding his thumb and just waiting for that verdict.
Oh yeah. But no, that's one of my favorite things about going to the movies with Beck. We rate the trailers. It's something I've missed during COVID.
Rip.
Yeah, but yep, just finished that one. What, you got anything else on your list?
Oh yeah, I got stuff here.
Nice.
I'm packing. Been watching this other show, which you might have heard about. I've talked about it before. I actually talked about it almost, except last Sunday. Every Sunday night, 9 p.m. The Bad Batch on Disney Plus.
Oh, right? Boo. I mean, I feel like that should be like a given, right?
Yeah. I'm going to combine it with something else here as part of the Starboy segment of the episode. Okay. So even our What's Watching will have a Starboy segment now.
Starboys. So we still need a soundbite for that for sure.
Yeah,
because definitely. We do this way too often.
We just seen an intro. We've seen like an intro video theme song, the whole thing. Like it just hijacks the episode.
Yeah.
For a minute, and we land back in our seats, and we are the Starboys.
Just lots of air horns.
Yeah. Space Jam 3. But yeah, I've been watching the Bad Batch, obviously doing a companion series on it. And obviously the way we do companion series, we do the review, we do the read through kind of summary of the show. But we also like to speculate and, dive deeper into like things that are in the show, Easter eggs, all that kind of stuff. So naturally, this kind of puts me in a Star Wars mood to kind of keep branching out from there. So, if you want to know more about the Bad Batch, my recommendations on every single episode and what's going on there, definitely check out our companion series, me and your boy Mikey, as Mike mentioned earlier, not this Mike, the other Mike.
Yeah.
It's all Mikes. Check out the Bad Batch companion series every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's good time, good fun. It'll be, what is it? Episode 5, 6 tonight, technically. But yeah, definitely got a lot of episodes to go still. So we took last Sunday off. Check that out. But because I am, screw you, Mike. Because of the Bad Batch, I have been on a little bit of a Star Wars tangent. So I have a YouTube channel that I've been watching frequently. Pulling a trick out of Mike's hat here, and I'm going to have a YouTube channel for my What's Watching top 10 franchises of all time.
Hey, that makes my heart so happy.
YouTube is a valid medium. We spend time there. Go check out Showboy's YouTube channel. Plug.
Make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe. We need 10 more. Anyway, so Star Wars Theory, really great channel. I mean, I would call it like is almost nearly official of like Star Wars content as you can get out there besides like actual StarWars.com. But this guy does a really good job. Creates a lot of his own like content, Star Wars theories, covers, things in a podcast format like we do with people he knows. Always constantly having content. And he puts out a lot too, and he stays really current with things. Like something he just released like a quick episode today, I think, about some rumor at Lucasfilm that's going about that maybe we'll probably touch on during the newscast. But
I'm sure we will.
gotta do it.
We can't even pretend we wouldn't.
But shocked. Yes, Mel.
Yes, what's up, Mel?
We love our Star Wars here.
Yes.
But and actually, Mel and I were talking about something specific from the channel I'm going to recommend, and I recommend this in our Discord.
Hey, shout out Discord.
On Star Wars Theory here, basically what he did was he took the Darth Vader comic series and he did a visual reading of it. So he reads it, but also writes basically his own written word for it. So like there's parts where he reads the verbatim dialogue, but then he'll summarize other scenes and skip over the dialogue, but he'll show you the comic pages as it goes along and even give a little bit of commentary at times. So it's a very good, comprehensive, abridged reading of this 25 comic series that covers Darth Vader. And basically it starts with Darth Vader right after Order 66. Basically as soon as he becomes Darth Vader and dons the suit, and basically runs for the very immediate period after, all the way to the point where like he acquires his actual first lightsaber, where he got the crystal. It goes into a lot of those details. Does a lot of jumping around with like where he is mentally, how his relationship with Palpatine, just lots of really good kind of deep, fringe, obviously comic level detail that you would get. But it's just a really good way to kind of digest this material. Inquisitors, his relationship with them, much like how Fallen Order does, all that kind of stuff. So it was just really well done. And I would recommend that to anyone that is obviously a Star Wars fan, Darth Vader fan, and who's interested in the comics like I am, but just doesn't really have the time, bandwidth, or medium to read the comics. So I really did like this find from his channel.
His channel is really awesome.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much stuff there.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and like the dude is obsessed with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like so obsessed.
Yeah, he needs to get a job like Skywalker Ranch and just help out. I don't know. Run like the official Star Wars podcast channel. Yeah. Like they seem to put the official like branding on him and make him like certified Star Wars George Lucas.
Well, like
approved.
He had the really awesome short, like Vader short. I forget exactly what it's called, like Shards of the Past or something like that. But was amazing. Like so good. And there was like a whole drama thing between him and Lucasfilms about that because he like crowdfunded, or no, he wasn't allowed to crowdfund. But then when the video went on YouTube or something, they wouldn't let him monetize it.
Yeah.
To recoup his money he sank into it out of pocket, which was a lot of money.
Yeah, and he jokes about the monetization thing too. I think he has to like primarily make a lot of money from his channel, obviously. Yeah. But he'll put up stuff and he's be like, "This is going to get copyrighted right away. I don't really care because I want to do it." Which is really cool. And the other thing that I've been working through is he does this where he sits down and basically it's like a watch party, or he just streams it and with commentary or a reaction video type thing. But it's the 1 hour bonus feature documentary on the 1 minute sequence of Mustafar fight in episode 3. So basically it's all the production and work that goes into making 1 minute of that movie.
Yeah.
in that sequence. And it's really cool, but it's, he just sits there and watches it. Occasionally has something to say, but it's just, I think it's just a fun way to watch otherwise, boring content that you're not just going to pop in the DVD and watch the bonus features. He does it for you. And it's just like in a much more relaxed way. So yeah, I definitely recommend that channel for anyone that is into Star Wars and likes going off the deep end there.
Yeah. And Mr. Theory, if you're listening, you should come on the show. And I feel like he would be so fun to talk to about Star Wars, obviously, but like like why he is like so in love with it and like his channel and everything. So yeah, why don't you your next assignment, Nick, is to get Star Wars Theory on the show.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah, because that'll happen. But I feel like a proud father though, with YouTube making it up there for you. Like you're screwing up so fast.
So you're gonna have a Star Wars thing next, so I can feel like a proud father?
No.
Damn.
But I didn't put the Bad Batch on my list because I feel like that's just a given since we're doing a Bad Batch show, even though I'm not on it. Like, I mean, come on. Of course I'm watching.
It's what I'm watching.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But my next one up is another show that I finished recently in the last week or so, and that's Invincible on Prime. I started it and apparently got all the way to because Prime does the same thing as Disney Plus where they release one episode a week. And I was all the way up to the second to last episode and then started watching other things and forgot to watch the last episode. So it was a one and done for me. I just had to finish that last episode. But I've talked about Invincible on other episodes of our show. It's a great little animated adaptation of Robert Kirkman's comic Invincible. The art style is really, it literally looks like a comic, like I'm watching a comic. The story is really fun and brutal and dark and bleak.
Brutal.
As any Robert Kirkman story typically is. Basically, you follow the main character, Mark, who is the son of Omni-Man, who is Earth's most powerful superhero. And, he's learning how to use his superpowers. And some real dark, crazy, insane stuff starts happening in typical Robert Kirkman style. And it's just insanity. Animation really suits this story. It's so good because they can literally do whatever they want because then they just draw it. But the voice acting cast is stacked. You have of course I'm going to blank on everyone's names. Stephen Yeun, who was Glenn in The Walking Dead. You have, oh my gosh, why can I not think of his name? The guy who plays Commissioner Gordon in Batman vs. Superman. He's J. Jonah Jameson in the old Spider-Man movies. He's literally in 1,000 things, and his name is literally gone from my brain. You have Sandra Oh from Grey's Anatomy. She's in there. Seth Rogen's in there. There's just the voice acting cast is stacked.
Yeah, that's a stacked lineup there.
I'm so sad I can't think of Omni-Man's voice actor right now. I could just look it
up. Google it.
I'll
send you the link on how to Google it.
Oh, thanks. Another short season. I think 8 episodes total. And I think they are all on the shorter side, but I could be wrong there because I've watched a lot of things lately. J.K. Simmons is the guy, of course. J.K. Simmons. He does a great job as Omni-Man, by the way. But it's a really fun show. It's been renewed, picked up for another season. Fun. If you like shows like The Boys, you're gonna love Invincible. Unless the animation's not your thing, then you're not gonna love it. check it out. If you like superheroes and dark stories, and basically an animated version of The Boys.
So many different superhero mediums creeping out and like different IPs. And you mentioned like it's like The Boys, or if you like The Boys, you would like this. And Seth Rogen voice acts it, and doesn't he have a decent level of involvement with The Boys? Is he like producing this as well, or?
Yes, I believe so. Let me just double check. He also is making, I believe it's Seth Rogen that is doing it, but there is going to be a live action movie of Invincible 2 along with the series. I don't know how they're going to tie into each other, if they are, or if the live action thing is just like a complete telling of the Invincible story, and then we have the animated series that is a longer version of that. But Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, they literally do everything together. So calling them Seven is not a bad idea. Actually, I want to trademark that for myself. They are producers on the series, but they are also the same role for the Boys. But literally Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg do everything together. Like everything. Seth Rogen actually is working on a Ninja Turtles reboot for 2023. Just saw that.
Wow.
Yeah, Invincible's fun show, but also
is the Ninja Turtles its own thing, or like what superhero bucket does that fall under?
It's its own thing.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, a lot of big Turtles fans out there, by the way. So I'm not really one. I don't dislike them. I don't love them. They're just like, I'm neutral. I'm a neutral Turtle fan. But yeah, that was the next one on my list. It's done. I'm excited for season 2. Yeah. Have you seen Invincible?
I have not.
No.
I've heard about it from you.
Have you seen Jupiter's
Legacy? It's in
Legacy?
the pile. Nope.
Yeah, there's the superhero oversaturation is still a thing, but I think those two shows kind of stick out a little bit, and obviously The Boys, because they're very different takes. Like Invincible and The Boys are like very dark and brutal takes on superheroes, but then Jupiter's Legacy is just like what happens when superheroes get old? Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think I'll get there with those, because right now I'm definitely like trying to, brush up on my MCU stuff, dabble in the DC when it's, really good. And The Boys obviously has a special place always. Yes. Campaign series coming soon.
Heck yeah. 100,000% happening.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad to know these things are out there, because I definitely like that style of superhero stuff a lot. So that moves it up on the pile, or down on the pile if you're Wally collecting from the bottom.
Yeah. That might be my favorite reference I've made in a long time.
Ever. Reference ever.
Because it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it is. So if anyone tells me to put it at the top of my list or the top of the pile and be like, you don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's got to go to the bottom.
Bottom. Low-hanging fruit.
Yes. So what's up next on yours?
Well, this is my last. And
I mean, just before your last one, you were like, I got so many.
Well, Star Wars was like three in there. Starboy segment always takes up a good portion of the list. Not topics. But this just recently, the final episode came out on Sunday, and I and my wife have been watched Mare of Easttown. Decently hot ticket item lately. Show kind of popped out of nowhere. as a lot of HBO shows do, and it, I would say, was a hit, and it was very good. Essentially set in a semi-rural PA town of Easttown. There's an SNL skit that makes fun of their accents. A lot of murder dirters in the worder, and we watched that first, which was, I think, a mistake. You need to watch the show to fully like appreciate the seriousness of the show, and then watch the SNL skit. We did it backwards, so it took us a few episodes to get the funny skit part out of our like heads whenever they said like literally like murder or like water, and I don't know, it was just a very silly intro to it. But it, it's starring Kate Winslet. She did like a really good job. She plays a very good character that has a lot of dynamics going on with her herself, just as like the detective in this small town. And she knows everyone knows her. It's the classic like everyone goes to like the homecoming basketball game kind of thing, and it's just a super interconnected town and everyone knows everybody, but there happens to be a murder. And and then Evan Peters is in it. He comes in as kind of like the detective from upstate, and kind of more official. So he's coming into this world where things aren't done exactly by the book, because Kate Winslet just kind of, she knows everyone. So that obviously changes protocol. Like she's just going to walk into people's houses and, know what to do in certain situations because, oh, it's my cousin kind of thing. So a lot of cool dynamics. Guy Pearce is in it. He's got a little bit of a role in there.
Nice.
But it's a really cool show, and it's presented as a crime, like a murder mystery, but it very much so though leans a lot into mental disorder, as we've talked about a lot on our show here, that kind of theme, family relationships, different more serious concepts when it comes to like murder, rape, things like that, as you get with a lot of like kind of true crime or just crime type series. But yeah, definitely like the mental health of people was like a big aspect of this, and just like the frame of mind that these people are in. And it does a good job as far as like the small town that you never escaped from kind of thing. So, I mean, it was a good show. Only obviously one season for now. I don't know if there's really room to put in a second one, so it might just be like a nice one and done from HBO.
Nice.
I'm going to say it just because we like to say it, but anthology series, maybe, kind of like
Make
a True Detective. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, let's just bop around random small towns and solve murders.
Yeah, the next one could be Mare of Easttown.
Yeah, well, Mare is her name, so.
Well, that's dumb.
And so, funny story.
Mel says, "I think I need to watch this."
Yeah, Mel,
I think you should.
You have to watch this. It's 8 episodes. Really good, really good. It ties a lot into a lot of things we talk about in Discord, and a lot of what your classes and different things touch on. So, yeah, 100% recommend that show. But I was going to say, like, funny story. Bianca recommended this to me, and I was trying to search it in on HBO Max, but I'll see on the PlayStation controller. So I'm like trying to navigate the grid of numbers, but I'm thinking she was saying like mayor, like,
like this show doesn't exist.
And like she was trying to spell it, but like it was stuck in my head that it was mayor, but here it's just Mare. So I want to just clear that up for everyone. It's Mare, Mare of Easttown. So it just kind of rolls together there. Yes. But yeah, 100% recommend. Very good HBO gem, right up there with, I'm not going to say it's right up there with first season of True Detective, but it's of that flavor.
Ooh, yeah. Gonna slide that in the bottom of the pile too then.
Yep.
And Becca liked True Detective, so maybe this will be our next after Barry show.
Yeah, I watched it with Erin. She loved it. And it's just one of those where toward the end, like we're pausing it to like reflect and try and figure out what's happening or guess what's happening, because they do a good job of like misdirecting and a lot of not loose ends, but a lot of different ways something could go. So they really do a good job kind of making it anyone's guess.
Right. That's sweet. Yeah, I'll have to check that out for sure. Well, since you're out of things, I still have 2, 3, 4 things to talk about.
Whoa.
One of which you can help me talk about because you've seen it and I've only seen some of it. And that is Perfect. My next option, or my next pick here, and that's Attack on Titan.
Yes.
On Hulu. Yes. I've definitely finished the first season, but I don't remember how many episodes I've gotten into season 2. But then this got kind of like shelved for other stuff because it's intense.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I think the story is really interesting. Excuse me. But there's only so many like screaming scouts that I can take for, multiple nights in a row.
I mean,
all they do is yell. There's no normal conversation. They're just screaming at each other the whole time.
That's Aaron's main gripe on it. And the funny story with that is when I first started watching the show, she obviously she does not watch anime. She just can't get into that kind of stuff, and especially if it's subbed, even like, so subtitles plus anime, like, it's just a no-go for her.
Yeah.
Well, there would be the nights or periods of time where I was binging through it, trying to catch up. And we have the hue lights, which we can change the color of them in our basement. So I would switch them to red and turn Attack on Titan on. And it was a mood. It like, obviously like lots of violence, blood, screaming, and like you said, like you shelved it, which I completely understand, because you've got to like cruise through a good chunk of it at a time to like really keep up with what's happening, because there's just so much crap and it's just so intense that you have to put yourself in that like zone and just like watch it and own it.
Yeah. And plus I was sad that they changed the theme song for season 2, because I like the theme song.
Yeah, the first one's the best for sure.
But yeah, so basically humanity is contained within this one city that is walled off in different tiers, and there are giant dingus looking human people that just eat normal people, and they're called Titans, and
they range from like 30 feet to like 100 feet tall, and they just like walk around and eat people.
Super cool video that we have in our Discord from Corridor Digital, I think is the channel on YouTube, explaining the scale of the Titans, which was really cool. But yeah, and they have like, people that defend against the Titans that like zip around on these like leg zip line, like grappling gun Batman hook things, and then
with swords.
They like slash the back of the neck of the Titan to kill him. But yeah, it's very intense. Also the first anime, like true anime that I've ever watched. But I enjoy it. I like it a lot. I just had to take a little break because the first season is incredibly long. And yeah, but
it's like 22 episodes, I think.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I'll return back to it. If you're a fan of anime, you've probably already seen Attack on Titan, but on the off chance that you haven't, I'm sure you would probably love this show. Do you think this is a good introduction to anime for someone who has never seen anime before?
That's a tough one. I always like to think about that, just because I've never been like super. I've never always been like a super like kind of into anime fan, but like it's grown slowly over the years. I don't think Attack on Titan is necessarily the best intro into anime, just because it's a very polarizing show. It's it's a very strong anime for its themes and what it covers. I think there's other good ones, like maybe Death Note's a good intro to it. I know Bleach is a favorite by a lot of people. I mean, there's tons out there. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if that is that a good intro. I don't know. It's a good question. It might vary. I think you have to look at the person and be like, this is the anime that you need to watch first. It's like a personality placement thing.
Yeah. I think I lied, because I think technically Pokemon is an anime, and I've definitely watched a bit of that, but that's if you're qualifying Pokemon as an actual anime.
Yeah. Technically.
Yeah. But yeah, that was on my list, and then I have 2 movies here. The first one being the most recent one that I've watched, and that is called Underwater on HBO Max. This movie was really cool and super like, I think underappreciated is the word I'm looking for. Probably kind of unknown. This came out in 2020. I don't remember if it came out before or right at the start of the COVID like lockdowns and stuff. I believe it was released in theaters. But yeah, I think it was just kind of like overlooked. But I remember seeing trailers for it and really wanting to watch it, and then for some reason not being able to get to theaters to watch it. Was in our buddies a bite of in their Discord a few months back. They, were talking about how they watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember I wanted to see that movie. I'm gonna put it back on my list again. And then like 2 months later, I finally watched it. Yeah, finally watched it. It's on HBO Max right now, so that's good. It's a sci-fi horror movie. It's very Lovecraftian. We have Kristen Stewart as the female lead.
Yeah.
And she's actually like pretty good in this movie. I didn't hate it. But we she
stepped up her profile, her game quite a bit. Like she's pretty serious these days.
Yeah, she did a good job in this movie. I enjoyed it. We also had TJ Miller, which he's a comedian. He was, in my eyes, most known for being HUD from Cloverfield, the camera guy. If you've seen that movie.
Silicon Valley, HBO, watch it.
That, but to most people, probably most known for his role in Deadpool as Deadpool's buddy, the bartender.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in this movie for a short bit. I actually wasn't a fan of his character. But anyways, the premise, we follow a group of workers who work on a drilling facility, Kepler 822. Shout out Dad again. Anytime I hear Kepler, I think of Dad. Thank you for ruining that word for me, Nathan Barnett. But this drilling facility is on the bottom of the Marianas Trench, and their station like gets destroyed, and they're
by kaiju.
Hey, no spoilies, even though I said it's very Lovecraftian, so I think that's heavily implied that there is some sort of dastardly monster down there causing the destruction. But yeah, it's a very intense movie. It's following these crew members trying to make it out of the section of the drilling station that is currently like being crushed and into another section of the drilling station to make their way back up to the surface. And they like waste zero time getting into this movie. I think there's like 3 minutes at the start of the movie before the station starts being destroyed. So I was just like, all right, so that's okay. Well, that's how we're going to do this. I'm in.
That makes it such a good segue from an anime and like our anime topic, and just because anime spend no time getting into the business of it, right? You see that in Attack on Titan and like just about any anime. We do have a comment here from our boy PM Fusion.
Yeah.
To our last conversation, he says, I think the best starter animes are the ones that the most amount of people watch, just for the fact they seem to be tamer than the rest to an extent. And I would agree with that. I think I just need to take some like recent numbers on like what are the most watched animes. I definitely think that would place Dragon Ball Z up there. Then, I know Attack on Titan's like super popular, but I don't know if that's super popular on that level or scale, or if it's just super popular amongst anime fans. Just because I would say it is of a very intense extent.
Yeah.
So
I got another comment from our buddy Mel. She says, I need to watch that too. I spent so long wanting to hate Kristen Stewart, but she is really growing on me lately.
That's right.
Same. Much like Robert Pattinson, but I think he just by far is like a great actor. So like seeing him in Twilight just made me be like, oh, that guy, what a dumpster fire waste of talent. But then like seeing him in anything outside of Twilight, it's like, oh wow, that guy's actually a really great actor. So it seems like Kristen Stewart is kind of falling into that category too. But yeah,
I'm interested in this underwater movie.
Yeah, it's really good. Like they do a really fantastic job of just creating tension the entire time. It's not like scary, like in that sense of horror, I guess. But more of just like tense, because one of my biggest fears is like drowning, I guess, or like being in the middle of the ocean. Like the ocean just freaks me out because it's like so huge. So just the fact that they're on the floor of like the deepest part of the ocean as we know it, and their facility is just being crushed by the pressure of the water, and they're like trying to frantically get out of this facility. It's just like literally my worst nightmare.
It's probably easier to get back to the like land, the surface of the earth from orbit around the planet than it is from the Mariana Trench to the surface.
Well, yeah, because then you have like that I forget exactly what it's called, but some kind of like blood disorder, where if you like rise too fast from like the pressure of the depths of the ocean, like basically they just die.
Yeah.
So it's like insane.
It's not a very habitable place for us sensitive meat suits.
Yes, sensitive meat suits. That's a great way to put it. But I would highly recommend this. It's really good, underappreciated movie. I don't know if there's like any room for a sequel. I think it's just a good solo film. Yeah, definitely.
Those exist.
If those, not today, everything's frantic. But if you like the Lovecraftian type movies, if you liked movies like Cloverfield, I think you'll enjoy this one. The next movie that I have up here, unless you have anything else to add before we move on. No. All right. The next movie I watched was Army of the Dead. This is a Netflix original. However, I did watch it in theaters because it had a short week-long theatrical run, which I thought was really cool for a Netflix original. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. But this is Zack Snyder's return to the zombie genre. This movie starring Dave Bautista, Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, which, side note before we move on, he actually does like pretty good in this movie. He's got some range here, like aside from just running and gunning and like being a typical action star. There's some emotional scenes which weren't terrible. Like I think his acting chops, like I don't know if this was we talked about this in one of our newscasts because he's cast in the Knives Out 2 sequel there.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah, so it's cool to see him grow. The last movie I saw Dave Bautista in was not a Marvel movie. It was actually called Stuber, which was a comedy with Dave Bautista and Kumail Nanjiani, where Kumail is an Uber driver and Dave Bautista is like a cop or something. It was a pretty funny movie. It wasn't terrible. But to see him go from Drax to Stuber to now what he does in Army of the Dead, it's cool to see him grow as an actor, and hopefully that continues because I enjoy him. Sorry, my throat is like so dry. I feel like I'm just on the verge of coughing.
Did you forget your water again?
No, I have two waters here, and I've been slamming them. But yeah, sinuses, or allergies, gotta love them. Living behind a cornfield, not great if you have allergies. Just throwing that out.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, but the premise here of this movie, you follow a group of mercenaries hired for a vault heist in the basement of a casino in the middle of Vegas that just so happens to be walled off from the rest of America because there was a zombie outbreak. So it's like Ocean's 11 meets like World War Z, which is a very interesting combination of genres for a movie. We'll just get this out of the way. It's a dumb movie. So like, if you're expecting to see some like mind-bending story or like, you know, super detailed, like everything, like no plot hole storyline, like that's not this movie. This is one of those just fun movies, entertaining movies to go see. You kind of like turn off your brain and go pop this on Netflix and just be entertained by the effects, the zombie kills. It's a very, very fun movie to go watch. In Zack Snyder, fashion, it's like 2.5 hours long.
Robot zombies.
Yeah, bro, that's the thing. I think he uses that. The epilogue of Snyder Cut with the Joker and Bruce Wayne there in the Nightmare timeline or whatever, and they have that like lens where like Joker keeps coming in and out of focus and everything's like blurry, like those shots. Well, that is used like way too much in this movie. So, like some of it is really cool, but then it's just like, okay, I get it. Like you got a new lens, you wanted to play with it and it looks cool, but like let's not overuse it. And then I read that like the reason that it was used in the Snyder Cut is because that was filmed, like Army of the Dead was filmed, before the epilogue was filmed, and because of the COVID stuff, like that's the lens he had. So he's like, well, we're just going to use it here for the epilogue. But yeah, I actually
I like to think that he just walks around with like a ring of lenses. Like in his pocket, just walks around with a ring of them, like and coat and he just whips them out and like looks at different things.
Yeah, but I mean, all of Zack Snyder's movies.
He's like, this would be a really cool shot with this lens.
Hold on, let me get the lens Rolodex out. His movies are always well shot and like look really good. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had a Rolodex of lenses at his side every moment on set. But our friend Mel, she says, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed Army of the Dead. It was a fun watch. It was. And if you put things aside, like everyone goes into movies these days, like thinking everything is going to be like Shawshank Redemption or something. It's like, bro, you're literally going to watch a heist movie in the middle of a zombie outbreak. Like, what do you think you're going to get? Like, just go and enjoy it. And then she also says, seriously, though, what the hell is up with the robot zombies? I don't know, but I do have something that might help answer that question. Could this movie be spawning a zombie Snyderverse on Netflix?
No.
There are 2 prequels that have been ordered already. A movie called Army of Thieves, and an animated series called Army of the Dead Lost Vegas. See what they did there? Lost Vegas. But all of these are already ordered by Netflix. So Army of the Dead Extended Universe
and Netflix gaming.
Maybe we'll learn what was up with the robot zombies. Yeah, because there's in the very beginning of the movie, as the army convoy is driving through the gates, in the background, I don't know if you noticed, but like there are 2 lights flying or hovering in the sky, and then they like zip off. So it could just be like a fun nod to maybe Area 51, right? Because they're kind of in that area. Or maybe the zombie origins have something to do with aliens and or robots. I don't know.
Ultron.
Yeah. Ultron tried to get his own like meat suit, and it turned into that. Melanie also says, I mean, if you can't have the DC Snyderverse,
yep.
I mean, hey, I'm for whatever Snyderverse they can throw together, because I'm apparently one of the few people that actually enjoys his movies. Yeah, Army of the Dead, fun watch, highly recommend it. I mean, if you got 2.5 hours to kill and you don't want to think about a movie, just throw that on and enjoy, because there's a lot of good stuff there. It's funny at times. You got the cool zombie kills, robot zombies. But yeah, have you seen this? Do you have any interest in this movie, Nick? Do you think you would throw it on ever?
I have a growing interest in it. It's not quite to the bottom of the pile yet.
Yeah. This one I would save then for a time that you are like, oh wow, what do I watch now? Like, I feel like I've watched everything I want to watch. Then I would throw that on for you.
Will that time ever be a thing? I cannot say.
Doubtful. So you'll probably never see this movie.
Probably not. Especially at 2.5 hours. I need it to be like 1 hour and 40.
Yeah, it's a long one. It did kind of, at some points I was like, wow, I can't believe this movie's still going. But then like most of the time I was like, oh wow, this is really, I didn't even pay attention until like I looked at my phone. I was like, holy crap, we got here at 8 and it's like 11:45. Like, what happened? But yeah, I enjoyed it. I recommend it. And last but not least, for what I've been watching, I have my own little YouTube section here, of course, because, you know, I basically live my life on YouTube. I have 3 channels here. We'll start with the most recent that I've been like binging hardcore the last day and a half, and that is the film/game theorist channels, which you've heard us reference quite a few times on our show. I have no idea how I went down this rabbit hole, but I watched like a Pokemon theory video he had, and I was like, oh wow, that was great. And then at the end of that video, he's like, I have a ton of Pokemon theories. Like, check out this playlist. So I clicked on that, and it was like 39 videos long. And I was like, oh my God, like, I gotta get into this. So, yeah, I literally have spent like probably 5 or 6 hours watching videos from this playlist, and I might be like halfway through it. So good, like so many interesting theories about Pokemon. And if you've never seen any of the film theorist videos, He basically, our movie conspiracy episode is like every video he puts out. And he finds the wildest theories and or comes up with his own theories, and they're just off the wall. And the amount of research he like puts in to like figure out if like he can prove or disprove the theory is absurd. One of my favorite Pokemon videos from his playlist there are 2 videos actually. He had to break it up into 2 videos, but he figured out how old Ash Ketchum is in the anime, like to where we are like in current time, because he never like ages appearance wise in the show, and he starts the show as a 10-year-old boy. Like that's when he starts his Pokemon journey, and the show's been going on for like 20 years. And we're like, okay, like how old is Ash? And he figured out he's like 20 years old or something. I don't know. But like the way he figured it out, I was like, I too want to know how old he is, but not that bad.
Well, that's the great thing about, you know, the film theorist is it's his presentation of his theories that's the greatest, because one, it's entertaining. He's got a lot of cool tropes he goes back to, but he also he doesn't just stick to one form of like analysis. He does such a good job at you know, leaning on the more speculative, like here's a tiny clue, but now here's a bunch of like analysis and like math and stuff like this, and this proves it.
Yeah.
And he just does a really good job at just making that all very digestible and believable.
Yeah. And I will say, though, after so many hours like in a row, maybe his like the way he like talks kind of is wearing on me, because he basically is like Attack on Tightening in my ear, where he's just like yelling the entire time. But like other than that, like I've loved every video I've seen of his, just about, and these Pokemon ones are so entertaining and have made me want to play Pokemon so bad. So if anyone out there knows of any good like emulators I can get on my computer, and like some good current Pokemon ROMs for the emulator, like hit me up in Discord or something, because I want to play Pokemon so bad. But not bad enough to go buy it, because I'll play it for like 2 days and then not play it ever again. So
I just like how you started with, I found this 40 episode YouTube series. His voice is starting to wear on me. I wonder why. Like, you just watched 40 conspiracy theory videos on Pokemon.
Yeah, but I've broken those videos up occasionally with some of the other channels I have listed here. So this channel, Mr. GG, is a channel that I've recently discovered like within the last week or 2. And I have no idea how it popped up in my algorithm, because I did not like search this. But this has to be one of the funniest channels I've stumbled on in quite some time. And basically this dude just reviews like bad movies, and he is so funny. Like I've been sharing a lot of my favorite videos I come across of his with Cody. Like we have a little, basically our entire text message chain is exchanging Mr. GG videos.
This guy. Yeah, I forget what video you sent of his that I watched, that you had me watch.
Dude, it's so funny though. Like his sense of humor is like right up my alley, and it's great. I even sit through his like paid ads, like that he like scripts out, because they're funny. Like it's just great. And just he'll review like some more well-known movies and stuff. But most of his reviews are just like really terrible like B films that his Twitter followers are like, you need to review this movie because it's awful. But I think I found him from the next channel I'm about to mention, with some like, I watched 4 disturbing movies like video of his, which was really funny. And then I was like, wow, this guy's
That's great. What I watched.
Yeah, it's so funny. So check him out if you've never heard of Mr. GG and enjoy funny movie reviews. Sorry, hiccups are back. But the last channel here is a channel called Wendigoon, and I think I also brought this. I brought up Film Theorist, and I brought up Wendigoon on our conspiracy theory episode. I think definitely Film Theorist because I used one of his theories, but I might have thrown up Wendigoon on there too, or maybe it was our episode last week with Sarah. But he does a lot of videos with the icebergs. I think that was last week. I was talking about the iceberg videos.
Yeah.
Yep. But he has a great disturbing movie, Iceberg, that's pretty funny and good. Well, his videos are less funny and just more like entertaining and like informative. He has a great series of videos on conspiracy theory icebergs. Like he's got like 10 that's broken up into a playlist. One of the most interesting videos I've watched of his is Bible theory iceberg, which is pretty crazy. Like there's a lot of wacky theories in and about the Bible. So that was really a fun one to watch. But with Wendigoon, it's been cool to watch him, especially going back to some of his earlier videos in like late 2020, where he was like, oh yeah, my channel, we just hit like 200 and some subscribers. That's really cool. I never thought that would happen. And then like a month later, he's like, well, we hit like 1,500 subs. That's awesome. Yeah. I can't believe this is happening. And then like, this is all like October, November of 2020. And then beginning of 2021, he's like, wow, I'm at like 100,000 subscribers. This is insane. I cannot believe this is happening. And now like he's at like 300,000 subscribers or something. It's just like to see the evolution of like somebody experiencing a channel growth like that. And just like, I don't know, he seems like a really wholesome like content creator, because you could tell as he's saying this stuff and he's just like, I literally cannot believe that so many people subscribe to my channel. It blows my mind. Like, but he has some really cool, you know, since we're show boys, he has some pretty cool and in-depth analysis of some movies. I believe, I want to say I watched a video of his on like No Country for Old Men, or I want to say it was that movie. But it was super good and like really in depth. And I was like, wow, this guy's got some cool stuff here. And then I found the iceberg videos and I was like, wow, this stuff's awesome. But yeah, if you're on YouTube a lot, those 3 channels I highly recommend. They're great. And then also the channel that Nick recommended earlier, Star Wars Theory, super good. I've watched a ton of Star Wars Theory videos, so check all 4 of those channels out. They're very, very, very entertaining. But alas, that wraps up my my list of stuff I've been watching, man.
We've been watching a lot of crap.
Yeah, so much, and there's still so much left to watch. Yeah,
it'll never end.
You guys have actually been watching a lot of stuff too. As always, we threw up, you know, our topic in the Answer the Boys channel in our Discord, asking for you guys to tell us what you're watching, and we got quite a few replies, so we want to read those and talk about them. So you ready for this, Nick? Ready to dig into these listener comments here?
Let's do it.
All right. So first up, our good friend Tom from Be Hero Fights, he writes in, okay. I've watched a few things lately. First off, I watched the animated Spawn series on HBO. Spawn is such a freaking cool character, and the series was really enjoyable. A little dated, but still absolutely worth a watch. Also, Love, Death, and Robots. I love that show. Season 1 blew me away, and Season 2, while shorter than I would have hoped, was incredibly well done as well. Season 2, I feel like, was a little more serious, almost in the vein of Black Mirror. Otherwise, I mostly watch movies. Love, Death, and Robots is a really great show, and I've only seen Season 1. I haven't watched Season 2 yet, but it's just a compilation of shorts. and season 1 was super cool. A lot of the episodes were kind of funny. They were all like weird and dystopian and kind of Black Mirror-ish. So I'm excited to get back in and watch season 2. Have you heard of Love, Death, and Robots?
I have heard of it. It has not come up in my algorithm though.
That was another one. So Black Mirror, I actually did like know nothing about. I was scrolling through Netflix and I was like, Black Mirror, what's this? And then I read the description. I was like, oh, it sounds interesting. Threw the first episode on, and I don't know if you've ever seen Black Mirror, but the first episode is like the pig episode. And I was like, what is this? And I was like, I can't determine if I want to watch or if I'm like just absolutely mortified. And I was like, this show's amazing. Like, I can't stop watching. And then I did. And then that probably is the downfall of my mental health that started like 2 years ago. But Love, Death, and Robots was a similar experience where I knew nothing about it. I was scrolling through Netflix. And I was like, oh, what's this? This seems interesting. Threw it on, and I was like, wow, this is funny. I don't feel like I want to die. This is amazing. But yeah, I recommend it. What are you chuckling about over there?
Essentially remembering when you were watching Black Mirror a lot in the office, and it was coupled with your like jokingly, I want to kill myself, but really though.
yeah, psych. But am I?
I've been watching a lot of this show called Black Mirror, and it is absolutely the most like depressing thing you could ever watch. I'm like, well, I mean, fits the bill.
Still holds true. Definitely do not recommend binging that show. That's definitely maybe one episode a week, and maybe watch that episode at the tail end of a day where you are extremely happy. So it just kind of like brings you back down to normal and not like into the pits of major anxiety or depression.
Someone should tell Netflix that if they still release that show by the season, that they need to do it weekly and not all at once to like prevent people from binging it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Going to a very dark place for a whole like day.
Ugh. Yeah. But of course we had to push on our good friend Tom, because here at Show Boys, even though our name is Show Boys, we care about movies too.
Yeah.
So we had to ask him what movies he'd been watching. So he says, well, all right then. Death Proof was an incredibly good time. Spiral from the Book of Saw was good, but blew its load too early. New Mutants wants so badly to be Nightmare on Elm Street 3, but failed miserably. Underwater was an incredibly good time and is wildly underrated. Also, coincidentally, I watched this like a day or two after they posted a review for Underwater. Unrelated, I didn't check out their review for Underwater before I watched the movie, but it's funny that we both kind of watched it at the same time. And you should go check out their reviews. They write reviews for movies, shows, sometimes games. They even have a series of videos on their YouTube channel of reviews that Brian does. So go check those out. But anyways, continuing on, he says Poseidon was better than I remembered and is a surprisingly effective survival adventure film. Hatchet 1, 2, and 3 are amazing. I saw The Devil is the most wild, messed up murder fest I've ever seen. The original Predator is so much fun. I also watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original Hills Have Eyes was really good and holds up surprisingly well. Originally, Texas Chainsaw does not hold up as well, but is still fun.
I like the heavy dose of original horror movies he went on there at the end.
He's a big horror fan, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
But I am shocked at the amount of movies that he listed, because that's a lot.
Yeah, he lists off some shows and we're like, hey, we need movies too. And then he's just like, okay. Ow. And yeah, usually from my experience, if you're a fan of horror movies, they like to watch them multiple times and over again. So that fits the bill.
I feel like I need to send him some of the disturbing movie iceberg videos and like Mr. GG, like disturbing movie videos to give him some material. He probably already knows of them and has watched them, but
potentially.
Yeah. Moving on, our friend Limes 314. He says, my wife and I recently discovered The Simpsons, so that's been our watch one episode before bed show for a while now.
It's a new show.
Yeah, it's brand new. Glad you guys found that one.
It's new to Disney Plus. I think that's how we can frame that.
Yeah, and I mean the show still is active, but he's like a younger. I shouldn't say younger. He's like, oh wow, I'm gonna butcher this. Luke, don't skewer me. I want to say mid-20s. Mid-20s. That's where I'm going. So I mean, I'm almost mid-30s, and I've never really watched that much of The Simpsons. So I'm not shocked that he is recently discovering The Simpsons. But we could also just be outliers.
So how do you feel about your approach to the big four?
The big four.
You know, your mid-30s. Don't you have the big 4-0 coming up here?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, in like 6 years. But yeah.
Okay.
Not well. Not feeling great about it. Yeah, that's another topic for another time. Our friend PM Fusion writes in, I just recently binge watched season 4 of Castlevania on Netflix. Overall, I'd say I've rather deeply enjoyed the show as a whole. While I do believe that season 3 had the largest number of issues compared to the other seasons, I think the show as a whole is really solid, and I wouldn't consider any of the seasons to be downright bad. This show to me offers a lot: great action, great humor, really good character development, and plenty of likable characters as well. And of course, plenty of references to the game franchise that made a long time Castlevania fan like myself really happy to see. But what I respect about it is that you don't even need to play the games to watch or understand the show, because it does plenty well on building its own set universe of characters. If you're a person who likes shows that have a good story, action, and characters, then this should be a must-watch for you. Just make sure not to watch it around any young ones. Lol.
Lol.
Yeah, lol. Thank you for that. And then we got a couple comments here. I haven't watched The Simpsons since the movie came out. I was working at Hollywood Video at the time. Good old Mel chiming in.
Shout out video stores.
Video. Wow, we used to have one of those in Canton on 30th Street. I miss video stores. The last bastion
of Family Video.
Family Video, the one by my house, just sadly closed like a couple months ago. I did pick up season 1 and 2 of Preacher for like $3 though, so it's a little good with the bad. And then Mel says, now I feel old. Sorry, so do I. I know how you feel. Yes.
Speaking of Mel,
her comments next in Discord, wouldn't you know? So she says, my wife and I recently binge watched Shadow and Bone on Netflix. I really enjoyed it. The story was compelling and interesting, and I cannot wait for the next season. Though, to be honest, I found myself more interested in the B story with the crows than the main story. But they were more interesting characters to me. And of course, I immediately fell in love with a queer, fast-talking, sarcastic gunslinger because apparently I have a type. I remember seeing Shadow and Bone and wondering about that show. And then, again, I'll bring up our friends A Bite Of. Their current season is on Shadow and Bone. But I haven't watched it yet. Do you know what the show is, Nick? It's a Netflix original.
I do not. I have not. I've actually been like off of Netflix for a while.
Interesting. Any particular reason?
Let's see here. mostly just kind of the other variety. I don't think I had any Netflix picks on here tonight. So just like I've been in the variety of everything else. I think Netflix kind of ran stale for me, but it comes and it goes. There's cycles to these many streaming platforms these days.
Yes. And then rounding out our listener comments, we have the one and only OG BB8. I feel like we had a lot of return of old favorites in our comments, with PM Fusion coming back, Limes popping in, Tom coming back, and then
it's these classic What's Watching episodes.
Yeah, then we have our mainstays with Mel and BB8, Bianca herself. Anyways, here's what I've been watching. HBO, Legendary, a dope AF underground ballroom competition show. So, Nick, if you're looking for more competition shows, Legendary, add it to the list. If you're a fan of RuPaul's...
This looks good.
If you're a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, watch this. Ballroom is what Drag Race was born, or what drag was born from. Mare of Easttown. Wow. My throat is just drying up. It's like Sahara Desert in there. Mare of Easttown. Just finished the finale. Such a great show. And just started a new anime, Mob Psycho 100. Absolutely hilarious and action-packed. Reminds me a lot of One Punch Man. Where do they come up with these titles? Like, is it just like bad translation? Or just like, I don't know. I feel like every title for anime is just like absurd.
They're just intense and absurd. 100? They grab your attention. Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's 1000, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, hey, I'm just reading what's typed.
Yeah, I just think of the
throwing Bianca under the bus on that one.
Yeah.
Hulu, Cruel Summer, kind of cheesy and not the greatest of acting, but I can't stop watching it for some reason. Lol. The new seasons of The Handmaid's Tale. I did it right. Just OMG head exploding emoji. I think Nick agrees.
That shit cray.
Netflix just watched the new Bo Burnham special. Super weird and emotional journey, but also genius. And High on the Hog, a very cool docu-series about the origins of African-American cuisine and its impact on America. And obviously the Bad Batch on Disney+. And finally, our watch before bed shows are either Chopped or reruns of the Grand Tour / old episodes of Top Gear.
Nice variety.
Very much so. I was about to say that. So a wide array of things that they watch for sure. Thank you guys so much for answering the Answer the Boys topic this week. We always love reading your comments and talking about them. It's a fun way to interact with you guys. So thank you so much. Yeah, you got anything else to add to the episode tonight, man?
Other than just apologizing for our connections, there's just the rain. It's just heavy. Interferes with the Wi-Fi for whatever reason. I'm still not to the bottom of why that is. Why does rain make the internet sad? I just don't know. We may never know. The signals get cold. I don't know. Wet. Just crazy.
Yeah, it's like the drops are hitting the signal out of the sky as it's flowing through.
Yeah. We're losing digital bytes out of the inner spheres, webs, stuffs, magic.
Yeah. It's either that or all the pollen gunking up our routers.
Pollen's gone now. The rain brought it all down.
Just my throat. Oh, okay. I see.
That's the cornfield behind your house, just like
trying to kill me.
Yeah, literally killing you.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I agree with Nick. Sorry about the connection issues, if there were any on your guys' end listening out there. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone who watched the live stream. PM Fusion, Mel, thanks for chiming in the comments. It's always fun to chat with you guys while we're recording. Thank you to everyone who answered in Discord. Speaking of Discord, you can see on the bottom of the screen here, you should join our Discord. And the link can be found on our Facebook and Instagram bios. It's on our Linktree page, which is linktr.ee/showboyspodcast. It's also clickable from our YouTube homepage. There's plenty of ways you can join our Discord and plenty of reasons why you should. You can interact with us, other members of the Showboys staff, and other people who listen and tune in. We have all kinds of channels in there with all kinds of topics, all kinds of conversations happening. It's a really fun, welcoming, friendly place to be where you can chat about all of your I'm sorry, man, my throat, seriously, like I think
dying.
But you can chat about all your favorite pop culture and not pop culture things. We also want to give a quick shout out to our very special guest, Hobbs. Thank you for joining us tonight. As always, we love it when you grace our screens with your furry presence. Please help us hit our goal of 100 subscribers on YouTube. If you haven't already and you've made it this far into our episode, hopefully that means you enjoy what we're doing. And I would ask that if you do enjoy what we're doing here at Showboys, please consider subscribing. It'll help you stay up to date with any new content that we push out, which we do fairly regularly. We have 100% one show a week, and sometimes more than one show a week. So there's always something for you guys to be listening to or watching right here on our YouTube channel, which, speaking of, Sunday night, 9 p.m.
double episode coverage of the Bad Batch because we skipped Memorial Day weekend. Just didn't work out, but yeah, we'll have a nice larger, try to make it quick, but you know, we just get stuck talking about all the fun stuff in that show. Plus we're kind of in the filler lull of the season. I feel like maybe they'll turn that around on tomorrow's episode. We will see, but do join us, me and your boy Mikey, for the Bad Batch companion series.
Not this boy,
not
Mikey.
Not your boy Mikey, not the boy Mikey.
Yeah, so not only do we share names, but then he also has boy in his name. Just bad planning on our part.
Tough. You know? Just wait till Stonk Boys premieres.
Yeah. Oh, little Easter egg. Anyways, Mike. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you Sunday, hopefully. Until then, have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Go smoke another cigarette.